Hello and welcome back to the Dolecast, episode 124. We're on our second episode of the day, I'm trying to remember here. Just before we get started, I'd like to thank a few people. 𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀𝐾 for sponsoring the podcast. We're not mucking about. A few sponsors. And also a few gigs to tell you about. Live version of this podcast, 25th of April in the Beehive. Tickets are available below. You can grab them. And then on the 27th of June, we're doing the B Team in Limelight. You can also grab those tickets down below. Please, that would be helpful. Just make life easier for me. But listen, I'm not going to muck about. We're going to get straight into it. Two lovely guests on the sofa today. Ian Thomsen, Jack Magee.
Hello.
How are we? I said I was going to start doing this with every guest, and next guest totally forgot about it. But it's always to start off and ask them one question, which is, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Am I going first?
You go first.
God, the pressure's
I
on.
have to think.
Porridge.
Quakers?
Honey.
Okay, yeah.
Very tasty. I pretty much have that
Every day.
morning.
That would be a
'cause
ritual.
I'm incredibly old and have high cholesterol, so that
You going
cleans all the
Quakers?
cholesterol out of your bowels.
Yeah. You going Quakers?
No.
No?
It's either Little or Tesco own brand oats.
Okay.
And you just soak them
Yeah, no.
overnight.
Fair enough.
Hate Quakers.
Hate Quakers?
Just like
Quakers beef?
No, just the Quaker Society.
No. Fair enough. Jack, what are you going for?
Why are they so silent?
Good hats, though.
Huh?
Good
Good
hats.
hats. Yeah, you
hats.
got to give them credit, I suppose.
I had a bagel with ham and cheese.
So did I.
Did you?
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's the
crazy.
breakfast of a youngster, son.
That's it.
Until the cholesterol sneaking up.
Anyone under 30 is eating a bagel, ham and cheese for breakfast? Yeah.
I am over 30
This
as
guy
well.
doesn't care if he lives or dies.
I
Did you?
I'm 32.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I look.
Here, you're doing well.
Yeah.
31 and a half.
31 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, you've been beaten.
Bagel with ham and cheese, a protein shake, and chili guava snus.
Okay.
So there you
I
are.
didn't know, maybe this is my old age, I didn't know snus came in flavours.
It does indeed. Yeah.
I thought it was all just like snus flavour. You know?
No, I'll show you as well, because this is one that I've stumbled on recently, and it's a game changer.
What flavour do you say it is?
Chili guava.
That sounds interesting.
I
It's
don't
spicy?
actually- it is. There's a slight wee kick of spice to it, but also sweet. And like, I mean,
Here.
I don't want to like if I was Gordon Ramsay for
Get
snus.
into the snus.
Get into the snus.
snus
See,
business.
chili and anything. My missus got like, she just rattles through peanut butter, and she got a delivery last week of like salted caramel and chili peanut butter. And I was just
There
like,
we
Oh yeah, bit
that
of product
doesn't sound
placement.
right. But
Chili and peanut butter, that is a weird
yeah,
one for me.
Do you know what I like? Dark chocolate and chili.
yeah.
Very, very
the,
good.
The Lindt one.
Oh,
Very-
stop it!
No,
Stop
I couldn't abide that.
Was your bagel seeded?
No,
No.
plain. New York, blue packet, plain.
Yeah,
You know.
fair.
Yeah, keep with the brand, you know.
Well, here. Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
You see it, man?
I like a wee seed.
Okay.
I do like a wee seed on my bagel. But the thing is, they all like once you take them out of the packet, all the seeds just fly everywhere.
Yeah.
So the New York Bagel Company, if you can sort that out, you know what I mean.
That's
It's a
just-
clean up nightmare. Like,
That's just the way it goes with seeds, man. It's funny, there was, can't remember, I think we had like seeded bread or something a few years ago, and I don't know where I got this idea from, but I had an old credit card that I was using to like scoop up the crumbs into a nice neat line before I put them in the bin.
it was definitely seeded bread.
Yeah, and, but my mum was around and she was just like, oh, that's a good idea. And like any time I'm round at my mum's now, like, and there's a loaf of bread sitting on a breadboard, there's like a line of crumbs. she goes, how did you think of that? And I was like,
I
don't
don't
know,
know,
just
felt different.
yeah, exactly.
You're like Scarface with all these big piles of seeds.
Just sitting on a big pile of Kingsmill, like.
Unreal.
You want to go to war?
See, you
That's
lads,
my math sounds like.
Scarface. You see, you lads, I wouldn't know as well as some of the other guys in the scene in terms of like we just haven't gigged loads together. How did you boys actually get into comedy? Because I actually don't know much about your like stories or when you started
Our
out.
journey, I suppose it was. Well, we both love comedy as much as corduroys, I think. As you can see, shout out corduroys.
You're quite Mario.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was the look I was going for.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mario on the bottom. Or yeah.
It's just my wee my wee hat blew off at the door, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think we both started sort of the same time.
Yeah, I think I did my first gig in 2017.
Right.
So probably a bit before you.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't doing very many gigs, and then I didn't do anything for 7 or 8 months. And then when I came back, I think you and Jordan and a few others had just started.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think like that was a brilliant time to start. Like there was just a whole load of new people that, you know what it's like, everyone sort of has each other's backs.
Yeah, of course.
You do your best to sort of help promote each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd thought about it for years, and then I was fortunate enough to get kneecapped. So by myself, on a 3 months off work.
Right, okay.
And a mate just texted me going, "Oh, I've got tickets for this comedy thing tomorrow night. Do you want to go down?" Went down to the Black Box, and it was called Further Ted. So it had like 3 of the comedians that had cameos in Father Ted. It wasn't related to Father Ted at all, other than that. But it was a brilliant show, and then we went for a few pints after, and like I was on the crutches with a cast like from my ankle to like the top of my thigh, and he was like, "Have you never thought about doing comedy?" And I was like, "I actually have." And then I was like, "I'm going to be sitting about for 3 months." So I then thought, well, now's the time to do it, kill a bit of time, and wrote the worst comedy set ever and took the plunge.
And like when you jumped into it, how was your first set? Like, did it?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Which stood me in good stead. I'm sort of with hindsight like glad.
Yeah.
But it was in the pavilion when the room was the other way around.
Yeah.
And I think there was like 17 or 18 people there. And like I felt like I was going to be sick, like it was properly shaking and everything. And then when I finally got a second gig, which took a while after the performance of the first one, I struggled to get another gig for a while. But the first one had gone so badly, and I've been so nervous, and I sort of knew the material was dog that I had all this other material, but I didn't care. I was like,
yeah.
You know, if like I'm getting another go, if I never do it again,
100%.
so be it. And
100%.
once I took that attitude of it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
it actually is quite a good attitude to have. Like,
Yeah. What about you? What'd you do?
I wanted to do it for like ages, and then had been like telling everyone I'm gonna do this, and then
Been there. Yeah.
I was like, how? Like I was living in Dundrum at the time,
Right,
like where I'm from originally, and like there's nothing. Like there's no sort of like comedy scene in Dundrum whatsoever, or Newcastle. Like
you're just telling jokes to like sheep and stuff.
yeah, that was it pretty much. Like just trying to do a rain dance to get 𝘿𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀. Like but so I was like, I'd been to like 𝘿𝙊𝙇𝙀 a couple of times, and I had Magee Bartlett on Snapchat, and I got like really blocked one night, and Snapchatted him at like 2 o'clock in the morning, being like, "Here, do you know how I can like start doing stand up?" And he was like, he wrote back straight away. He was obviously up as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's interesting, Mickey sending people drunk messages, like, you know, or getting them the other way around.
Yeah. So anyway, he sent a photo of his genitals and was like, "Nobody joking. Sorry, Mickey." So he was like, "Luke McGibbon runs the PAV, and it's like open mic, so give him a shout."
Yeah.
So give Luke a shout, and then he got back to me like 6 months later and was like, "Yeah, here you go. Here's a spot." My first ever spot, I remember being so nervous that I had to get like really, really drunk, like super drunk.
That's what I should have done. Probably would have been funnier.
I can't remember my first set, but apparently it went quite well.
Right,
and then Luke gave me another spot like 3 months later, and I died. I didn't drink this time, and I died like super, super hard. And then was like, "Okay, I'm gonna keep, like, I still want to do this." And then he didn't give me a spot for like 6 months because obviously he was afraid of me dying again.
Yeah.
Do you know what he said to me? So I was badgering him to try and get a second gig, and he was basically blanking me and ignoring my messages, but I lived just down the road from the pavilion at the time. So I just kept showing up every week and like sort of keeping my head down, keeping myself to myself, just watching everyone else. And then eventually it was George Firehorse, who I think it was only the second or third time I'd met George. And he was like, "Are you a comedian as well?" And I was like, "Oh, I've done one gig. Or trying to get another gig." Blah. And then we were walking back across the room at the end of the night, and he turned to Luke and he goes, "Give him another gig." And Luke was like, and he took it. He was just like so reluctant to open the calendar on his phone. And he was like, "Right, can you do like the 23rd of next month?" And I was like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And he just went, "Try and make it funny this time." And look, like he has the reputation as the nicest guy in the local town, and he is.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Who is Luke McGibbon now?
Yeah.
For
I know.
real? No, I'm joking. Give me another spot. Yeah.
Where are
Oh,
the
he
bodies?
can't remember saying it. And I
Funny
think
that.
he sort of was saying it in jest, I like to think. But
Yeah.
luckily I got my own back a few years later when I started a rumour online that he was a child sex offender. So, swings and roundabouts, yeah.
That's it. All comes back, you know.
Rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just kept playing on with gigs, then?
Yeah, that was it. The third gig, the guy that I was living with at the time, he had a daughter, and she had this wee electronic drum kit, and I was just messing about with it one day,
The daughter.
I'm not Luke McGibbon. Do you know what I mean? Thanks for the tea, by the way.
No bother.
I was messing about with this drum kit, and I had made this rap about Jesus. I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna do that at this gig tonight, and that's how I opened my set. And I just remember getting applause and all, and it was
Still does.
well, I don't do it anymore because it's quite blasphemous. But yeah, so I got the keyboard and stuff, and then that sort of ventured from there. But yeah, I don't know. So
Would you do a lot of because I've obviously seen you, I've gigged with you before, but would you do a lot of songs? Would you sit down and write songs, or would you just kind of go?
Not really, because I can't actually really play the keyboard. Which I know annoys a lot of people. But I don't know. It's kind of nice. I know that I think audience, for audience interaction, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know.
I like how you embrace the fact that you can't
You
play it.
can't
Yeah.
play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
'Cause I'm not giving a bit away, but I saw you did a bit a couple of weeks ago about doing but it was just the three. It's the same three notes or whatever over and over, but it's funny. So it doesn't matter.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you know the classic is because I'm so elderly and out of touch with the youth? It was just one day, I heard that Cherry song, and I was like, "Fuck, Jack's ripped that song about Jerry Adams off." I thought that was a Jack Magee original. I didn't realize you were knocking off at Justin Bieber.
Yeah. See.
Oh, I'm with you now. I had to catch up for a second. I'm with
So
you.
that was before I'd actually was doing stand up. I was making stupid, but before even TikTok, I was making stupid videos. I suppose that I don't know if that would count, but fair. Because I was stuck in Dundrum and I was
Stuck in Dundrum.
I was fucking stuck.
It's also the name of the song.
Yeah.
Stuck in Dundrum. But yeah, how are you finding it? Because you're new to
I
the
love
scene.
it.
Yeah.
And look, we did a gig on Friday. We did a gig on Saturday.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's why you're here, pretty much.
And
It's
Friday
so
was a belter.
Beehive.
Just
I have not been so nervous for a gig in a while.
oh really? You didn't come across that
Oh,
way?
see on the inside, the wee guys control me were going crazy. I don't know. What it was everybody had got off to such a good start, and they weren't rowdy, but if you asked for a yo, they'd give it to you.
Aye. Yeah.
And I was just in my own head of you need to deliver here or it's gonna be bad.
Well, the thing, I mean, I think the momentum, you would have to have been very bad to disappoint that audience.
They were loving it. They
because,
absolutely loving it.
it was one of those ones where within a minute of being on the stage, you were just this is going to be a belter of a night.
Yeah.
Because I first minute I was analysing every word coming out of your mouth. I was like, right, what are these guys laughing at? What are they not laughing at? But then they just they were unbelievable audience. It was so
they were on the front row getting involved.
Yeah.
But there sometimes you regret speaking to people in the audience because then they won't shut up.
Yeah.
But they joined in at the right times and they were quiet and respectful
100%.
of everyone.
100%.
But when you asked them a question, they were all up
Yeah.
for chatting. And
As honestly, one of the best gigs I've done
Class.
since I started stand up.
I'd say
so
that,
fun.
I think that's probably the most like I've enjoyed MCing. Because remember, like, I think I was meant to do 10 minutes at the start, and I felt my watch like sort of vibrate to let me know
your time's
that's
up.
10 minutes. And I'm like, I'm gonna keep going here.
Yeah, that's great. No, really, really good.
I love that.
But I actually felt that you probably had it slightly rougher because at the end of Aiden's set, there was a few people got up
Yeah.
to go to the toilet
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
bar or whatever, and I noticed there was a few empty seats, so I was trying to buy a bit of time for them to sit down again. But yeah, unfortunately, that was probably the lowest point in the MCing of the evening. It went a bit quieter at that stage before you come on. But no, it's a great venue.
It is. And the only time I've been in it since is, well, we're doing the live podcast there, but the only time I've done it since is the charity night that you were on. I was just down doing videos and interviews for the social media. And
the Adams night?
That was Adams night.
I did that as well.
Yeah. And Kieran had said to me, can you come down and just get a few interviews of a few comedians and we'll stick it up on the socials. And even at that night, I was like, isn't it a really nice room? Like, it's really, really nice.
The only problem that night, and it happens more and more often, there was probably too many acts. And I know everyone was doing 5 minutes, but like people don't stick to 5 minutes. Yeah. I think everyone did pretty well that night. Yeah. But by the end of it, when there's been like, 12, 13, 14 people on stage,
100%.
The audience are just like...
They're tired. They
are. And it's like, I can fully understand why people do it. And especially when you're new to comedy, like, because your mates are giving you gigs and you're giving them gigs and everyone's sort of... But honestly, see, unless it's like an open mic setup, like, Madden's the Pavilion, sort of 5-6 acts is more than enough.
Yeah.
Like I said, the audience just loses interest, like.
Yeah. They just get tired. That's like anything. They just
And I think, like, even now, like, people are doing shorter solo shows now as well. Like, I mean, an hour is good, but you see when you get to, like, the 40 minute mark, you need to really have something to keep them engaged.
I've felt that myself with, I've seen a couple of American comedians who've come over here and I've seen them in the SSA arena or whatever. And when it gets that, like, 40-minute mark, I'm like, I've laughed, I'm happy enough, I'm ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Like if you wrapped it up here, that'd be grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I think people are doing slightly shorter shows, but, once you're at that sort of mark of like 40 minutes, you need to inject a bit of energy back into it and turn things around or something like.
Because there's been a lot, like even from when I started in April, and I briefly talked about this to you on Friday night. Started in April, and like from an outside perspective looking in, like the mechanics of the actual scene, I make it sound more technical than it is, but like everything that goes on for a gig to run is crazy. And to an audience member who just buys tickets, sits in their seats, gets their drinks, whatever, see all the like
got it easy, bastards.
Honestly, it's disgusting. Like booking acts, sorting like even like the likes. See, when if I gone to a comedy gig before I started, you wouldn't notice a flash half the time of like an act being told unless they address it. You barely know.
And then like even on the night, there's wee things that can just like fucking bar staff making cocktails while someone's on stage, and all you can hear is ice on a blender, and it's like give us a chance here. Like.
I've been on stage definitely, and there's times where I've heard something in the crowd, and to the rest of the audience, they probably haven't even heard it or don't even know what I'm talking about. But all it takes is like one wee sound to be like, do I need to say something about that? Do I need to address that? Do I need to do whatever?
100%.
And I've done it before, and no one else in the room's heard it, and I've just looked like an idiot. But no. Friday was unbelievable. Saturday was good as well. I really enjoyed Saturday.
Saturday was great crack. That was like
best of 3 in a while.
I love that gig because it's just nice to like. It's just nice to see everyone. Like
it's like a wee social,
best of three. Yeah.
It's like a wee social event. Like it is.
It was. Yeah, that was it. Like a wee family gathering. Like that's what I love about the scene that we have. Like it's very like close and like community.
Yeah,
there's
not many slabbers, and
if
the
there
ones
is,
that do tend to be sort of identified pretty quickly.
taken out.
Not that me and Jack spent the whole journey up here talking about our sworn enemies.
Hey, what do you think we were doing for the podcast? But you did the roast.
Oh man, that was probably my favourite gig last year. Because the great thing about that, right, is despite the fact that we all know each other and all gig together all the time, that was being on stage with your mates, getting the piss taken out of you, but nobody had heard any of the jokes, like ever. So that was like so much fun that night.
Because you're writing material that you're never going to hear. Like, you're never going to say it again, obviously.
Yeah.
And, like, I did a roast with John Devlin, opposite him. And, like, he used to text me being like, lad, I've written 100 jokes here, and like I haven't stopped thinking about you for the past month. And you're like, you'll never use any of this stuff ever again. Like you're never gonna be in a scenario you need to make a joke about me. To an audience.
I actually have. There's stuff people have said about me in a roast battle years ago, and I'm like, do you mind if I actually take that and use it in the set? And likewise, there's stuff that I'd written for roast battles that'll just like throw at someone when I'm emceeing or say to someone in the audience.
This was said to me years ago at a roast battle.
Nobody knows that in the audience, like,
of
so
course.
They think you're very clever.
And was the pressure on that night, like, for the roast?
Not at all, because everyone sort of knew. I mean, there was a WhatsApp group, and everyone was like, right, does anyone have any red lines where you can't say this, that, or the other?
Yeah.
And hardly anyone put anything into it, but the first person who put it in was like, Kieran Bartlett was like, don't say anything about my wife, right? And I was like, well, I'm going to take the piss out of him for putting that into the group. But his wife is genuinely lovely. So, that was just like, instantly, that was like a red rag to pull. I'm like,
well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I can't remember how I heard this. Oh, no, it was John basically had told me that, we're getting into it, that his friend had died in a car accident, and we were doing this roast, and I was like, I came up with a joke for it. I was like, oh, don't. And I went down the Mans one night, and I showed Kieran Franco, and I showed a couple others, and I was like, what do you think about this? And they're like, yeah, it's good. And John didn't know I'd written a joke about it or something. I can't remember what it was. And I got a message from another comedian after the gig being like, don't use that. And I was like, flip. Because you're trying not to give
Who was it?
I'll tell you after. I got a message after me being like, don't use that. Like, I think that's too far. And I was like, flip, maybe. And then you double guess the rest of your material. Because like, is that too far as well?
Yeah.
Like, how much of this is too far?
Well, that's the thing. See, I remember James McKechnie. Like, I don't think he's ever done one because he's too nice.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you come away feeling annoyed at stuff? And I'm like, I don't care what anyone says about me. It's just, I feel bad about what I'm saying about them, 100%. But I still think it's funny.
I came away from the one me and Soupy roasted each other.
That's a good lineup as well.
That was fantastic. I think you can get it on like YouTube, and we both actually came away like so apologetic to each other, being like, "I love you, I'm so sorry." But I remember for like weeks leading up to it, we would like just check in with each other to be like, here, just so you know, like, I love you, like, I'm so sorry.
Me and John did the same thing, being like, listen, we're mates, like, it's not, because at the end of the day, like, it's tongue in cheek, and like, when I say I'm trying to win the roast battle, I don't mean like I'm up all night, but like, you know, someone's gonna win, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
See, as you say as well, like, one of the weirdest things about roast battles is the lead up to it, how you just can't stop thinking about your opponent, like, constantly. And like, I remember the very first roast battle that the Pav did was in the American when the pavilion was being done up. They moved Monday Night Comedy down to the American, and it was me against George, and we were drawn as the first ones on stage. And I remember like a couple of days before, I started getting all these notifications on Facebook, and George was liking photos I'd posted like 8 years before. And I was just sitting there going, oh. And then on the night, he was just like, this is the weirdest thing about it, is I just haven't stopped thinking about you. And then the next one I did was against Sean Tanuvasu, who doesn't do comedy anymore. But I can remember that was in February, I think, and my missus from New Zealand, so we'd been out there for Christmas and gone on a dolphin safari in the Pacific Ocean. And I can remember being underwater, looking at a dolphin, and all of a sudden I thought about what am I doing? I'm literally the furthest point you can get from Belfast on the planet without doubling back on yourself. And I'm thinking,
is there a bitness about dolphins? Is there?
Once in a lifetime experience.
Can I call him a dolphin? Yeah. Because when we did, I remember. So that guy texted me, was like, "Hey, too far," and I ended up texting John and being like, "Listen, I'm just gonna tell you this one joke." And put it out there first. I was like, I couldn't care less. I was like, that's not a big deal whatsoever. And I was like, right, well, there you go then. But it's just one of those things. But we were there, we were at the roast, and it was hilarious. Like, oh, mate, so funny. And
I had a bit of a technical.
Oh, the voice note? Or the song?
It was actually a video. But I'm kind of glad that didn't didn't play.
Okay.
But then I sort of rushed the rest of my set. But
see, I played a song. I had a this is awful. So there was 3 rounds in this roast, and I played a song in the second round because John Devlin used to be like a musician and used to post his own music and stuff.
Right.
And he didn't know I knew this, and I was like,
Brilliant.
and I was like, I'll just play, and like, God spade a spade. So he's not Ed Sheeran, and I was like, I'll just play one of the songs, but I downloaded it and like distorted his voice a wee bit and like really made it sound horrific, and he didn't know I was doing this, and John Zoo was like judging the roast, and I was like, oh, John used to be a musician, blah blah blah, and started playing the song to nothing. Like no one was like, no one found it funny,
really?
no one was like, and the round finished, and John Z was like, that song was pretty good. Like, it was not a song. And I was like, oh no. And like they decided the winner of each round on cheers, and they're like, cheer for John, and then cheer for Daniel, and not one person. There's not one person.
But you see that when you're talking about like finding out about his like dabblings in music, and he didn't know, so some of the stuff. One of the best ones I've seen was Ross Mitchell against William Callahan, and I mean, they're both on the spectrum, and they'd been out drinking one time, and Ross had confided in William that he had an irrational fear of crisps. And William was like, what? And he was like, I don't know what it is, but they like freak me out so much, and like I can't be around. Like when someone's eating a bag of crisps, it just like sets me on edge. So William, the two of them went up on stage, and like, there were sort of 2 or 3 minutes into it, going back and forth. And next thing, William just like takes a rucksack on, and he just took it out and just opened it up. Just had this giant bag of taters. But he was just like, oh, what people don't know is Ross has got like an irrational fear of crisps, and he was just like eating, just like crunching them and like throwing them at him. And Ross like properly lost it and ran off the stage and everything. Like. But it's just those wee bits. Yeah. It's like, how did you know that?
People don't know that.
Do you remember Jordan Robinson against David Doherty-Jebb? And to this day, I don't know why Jordan went ahead with the roast battle, but me and Jordan were recording a podcast that day, and in the middle of I'm sure Jordan won't mind me telling the story, like, but in the middle of us recording the podcast, Jordan got a call from his mum, and his dog had died. So we wrapped the podcast up anyway, and
fairly quickly, like, oh no.
And I was like, what about, so you're not going to go to the roast tonight, like, and he was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and do it, like, typical Jordan, just he'll gig no matter what. Like.
He did a gig the night after having heart surgery.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
That's crazy, as well.
But yeah, that was, I think another one of my favourites was Sean Tanuvasa, who doesn't do comedy anymore, unfortunately, but it was the same format as William's birthday.
Yes, load of people.
The 12 comedians. It was Fraser Robb's birthday, but Sean Tanuvasa just went up to the podium and he pulled out this file. He looked like he was, I don't know, about to give a presidential address or something, and then he was just like, the following people are fat. Dave Elliott, Mickey Bartlett, Fraser Robb, Jordan Robinson, and just read out like the list of all the fat comedians on the stage, and then like he's getting massive laughs, and then he just waits for it to die down, and then he just turns the page and goes, the following people are dead. Just like reads out whose ma had died in the last year and everything. But that's what reminded me, because he just went, Jordan's dad, Jordan's dog. It's just like so simple but very effective.
Yeah, I think if I was doing another one, I'd have to be like that with the person I'm doing it with.
Yeah,
because you want, especially if you're like really going after them, like you gotta know them really well.
Yeah, it's better when the two roastees know each other.
Yes, the roastees.
Yeah. You couldn't just go up against.
No, randomer. Oh no,
no, definitely not.
I can do it. Woo! It's ad read time. We're back for another ad read, and you guys already know who the sponsor is. Go Barbecue Co. Until the end of time, unless they pull the contract, these ad reads will come to you quick and fast. Folks, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to hang about here. You just want to get back to the episode with Ian and Jack. I'll tell you this. Go Barbecue Co. are the number one for getting a barbecue in this country. And you know what? I think they may ship worldwide. Definitely fact check that before you're ordering one from Bolivia. But like, they are unbelievable when it comes to the barbecue game. And let me tell you this, folks, I'll give you an exclusive. If you go on to the 𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀𝐾𝐒 Instagram page, they do ship worldwide. Oh, thank you. So if you go onto the 𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀𝐾𝐒 Instagram page, you will actually get exclusive discounts that you can't just, stumble across on the street. As well as that, I like a man or woman who is, a bit adventurous in their life and goes, you know what, I like to put my chips on black a wee bit. Well, look no further. You can go to 𝐿𝐵BBQ raffles, a new page that's been set up by 𝐿𝐵BBQ and Barbecue Lad on Instagram, and you basically buy a raffle ticket or 10 or 100 or however many you think the prize is worth, and then your ticket could be the winner, and you can walk away with some pretty sweet gear for very little money. So, folks, not some discounts and opportunities to be trifled with. So get on it. Okay, thanks very much. Back to the episode. You're doing 75 hard.
75 hard at the
Tell me
minute.
about this, because I couldn't, as a mortal man, I couldn't do this. Like, I really couldn't.
It's absolutely horrible, like, I have to say. And yeah.
What is it?
75 hard. So it's also my Granda's grinder profile. But it's 75 days of an outdoor workout, an indoor workout at 45 minutes each, 4 litres of water. You have to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book. I've just been reading a fiction book.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's fair.
No takeaways, no alcohol. And
Snort a few lines of breadcrumbs.
yeah.
the world is yours.
The world is yours, yeah.
But yeah, do you know what? The first 2 weeks were horrible, and then I started really enjoying it. And then now I'm hating it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's...
Yeah.
How far are you in?
This is day 34, so we're nearly
getting
there.
there,
Like,
yeah.
I know once it gets to like March the 1st, the end is inside.
Yeah.
I'm literally having dreams of takeaways. Like, I'm like battered sausage suppers.
What is the end date for that?
It's going to be the 16th of March.
Right,
the day of the storm. I couldn't make it to a gym.
Yes.
So
fair,
I have to do an extra day.
An extra day.
You know what? I appreciate that you're sticking to it and being like,
look,
you know what? Storm or not.
Whatever they say about Jack Magee, he sticks to...
He sticks to his principles.
Not his principles, like,
right,
but
okay.
he sticks to
75 hard.
75 hard.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just need validation, that's it. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't we all?
Not headmasters.
Don't we all?
Not headmasters.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about... You have weights in here?
So we have weights in here, but you could probably brush the dust off him because I haven't been used.
Well, I was going to say, like, don't give him too much credit because he's got Lego as well.
I'm Lego.
Which is slightly suspicious.
I'm Lego mad.
Are you?
Oh, mate. Oh, my goodness. Like, one thing about
Sorry,
Daniel
can I
Houston.
just...
Yeah, work away. One thing about Daniel Houston. No, no, do you know who's even more for it? This isn't even mine. My father is crazy for the Legos. My dad, every year, will do, like, at Christmas time, we'll do, like, a big winter village. So
Right.
he'll do, like, two of these tables, and he's a mad lad for Vinted and eBay, and he'll just buy any, like, Lego houses or, like, Lego Christmas items that he can find, and he'll put them all in this massive... Like, last year there was a moving train.
So is he just making the stuff or sticking to the
No,
booklet?
so he makes so, like, let's say he buys a Christmas Lego set, he'll buy that Lego set, and then he'll put it in this village with loads of others. But the guy's lost his mind because no one sees it really. Just kind of sits here, and then, like, they come up to this year, he was very busy, and he nearly didn't get it finished, and, like, you would have thought the world was ending. Didn't think he was going to make it to Christmas. And he's just like, every day there's a wee package arriving in our house, and you give it a wee shake, and it's just bricks, like. But I
I
love
see
it.
there's something quite therapeutic about doing it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely
so
I
class.
love
Start
it.
pedophilic. No, like a mate of mine, he got one of the big... I don't think it was Star Wars. It might have been something like that.
Yeah.
That's
Like
a
big
London
400 piece thing, like.
Yeah.
That's a London Lego set, by the way,
It
for
is.
anyone that can't see it.
Yeah,
Any visually impaired listeners.
It's got Big Ben.
That's got
Or,
Big Ben.
Sorry,
and
that would be Small Ben.
yes, and
actually the bell.
the London Eye.
The London Eye as well. Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
does
only
Tower
London Eye,
Bridge.
yeah,
The
Tower
lot.
Bridge. Yeah, Tower Bridge.
It's got someone getting stabbed there.
Yeah,
Very authentic.
What?
Yeah,
You bastard.
You mad?
Some Millwall fans throwing bottles.
but yeah, no, I think in my lifetime, I said this podcast before. In my lifetime, probably about $3,000 on Lego, like
Whoa.
easy, and plastic
See,
bricks.
Like
Easy
my
work.
my kids, like they're a bit old, so they're like 14 and my daughter's nearly 13. But like my son got quite into the idea of Lego when he was probably about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But he just had this thing, he would build it, but
Is it still there? Like,
he has it like all built in drawers under his bed. And then he got into the Playmobil. He wanted to get the whole...
That's a hard shift. That's a hard
whole-
shift. from
Oh,
Lego to
well,
Lego.
he, you know, he's...
it's a gateway toy.
He's a very flexible guy, like, you know, he doesn't close the door to one just because he likes the other.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he had the entire Playmobil Ghostbusters set with
Oh, that's a
the
good one.
station and the car and
Yeah,
everything.
that's a good one.
And I keep saying to him, I was like, look, see when, you know, you eventually want to buy a packet of fags or wee fruit. Like sell all that.
Here, that's parenting. That's, you know what? That's parenting. That's parenting.
Well, it's funny because this is now like being called generation sensible because like teenagers and young people are spending so much time on screens.
Yeah.
And apparently now, like they're afraid of getting like wasted the way I would have done as a teenager because they know one of their mates is going to take a video and stick it on WhatsApp.
What
or
gem
whatever.
would you be then?
What's that?
What gem would you be? You're
I don't
millennial?
I'm millennial. I'm like they say that like we're afraid of like doorbells and the thumbs up emoji. I hate the thumbs up emoji because it's very passive
Like
aggressive.
it's just a wee.
I would
thanks
rather
very
you
much.
That
sent me
is-
like a wee saxophone emoji or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What's the other thing I heard recently that millennials are offended by that's ridiculous? There was the thumbs up emoji and it'll come
Can you
back.
grab a list?
Have you heard of millennial pause?
yes.
Yeah. Have you like
Yeah.
where millennials start a video and there's just like 2 seconds of silence, then they go into the video.
Or there's like a deep breath in, like, "Hi guys."
Yeah.
Is it them like allowing themselves to like?
I think
just
it was that
fix themselves?
Snapchat might have originally had a delay on it or something, so everyone
Right,
got
okay,
so used to being like having a delay that now that there's no delay, they still do it.
So
Play
that's what I
the
probably-
voice. So when Ian was
For the
picking me,
coffee?
when Ian was picking me up, I got caught out by the millennial pause because I asked him did he want a coffee,
Yeah.
and it ended up like this. I said it twice. Oh, can you hear that?
Yeah, Mike should pick it up.
So,
I was going, do you want a coffee? Do you want a coffee?
and then
Like an
That's a crazy Bible.
No, thank you.
he said no thank you to it. But yeah, so yeah,
No,
Can you grab a list of things that millennials hate?
ridiculous.
Oh, like millennials?
Yeah.
It was the thumbs up, and oh man, this is gonna haunt me.
See, I'd be Gen Z.
you would be Gen Z.
I would.
What age are you? 22.
I'm 20. So
20?
I'm 20. So I would be Gen Z, and then you're millennial, and then I don't
So
even know what.
I don't know if I think I
You have a name?
missed Generation X by a year.
Yeah.
Or maybe I missed Millennials by
What age are
a
you?
decade. I don't know. 45 and a half.
Whoa,
Um,
you look great.
thanks.
You
I
do.
don't feel it.
Well, I was pulling that list up. You had the skullet.
I did.
You had
yeah.
the skullet, and I was there for being shaved off. And that was
Yeah.
the first time I met you as well. So I was like, wow, this is a huge,
that's right.
It's a huge day.
Yeah, man,
It's a huge day.
Do you know, I miss it in terms of it was a really cheap laugh, but I would go on stage wearing a hat and then just look for someone with a mullet and then just like take the piss out of
Yeah.
their hair.
I-
I just say, and then just take my hat off and hang it on the mic stand.
Yeah.
And
Class.
yeah.
Class.
Remember you asking you were gonna dye it. This was before you dyed it. It was just your natural color, like a nice like strawberry ginger.
Uh-huh.
And you were like asking like, what color do you think I should dye it? I think
No,
I
see, I
might.
went blonde in about May, and then I put the thing on Instagram saying anyone who donates before next week or anyone who has made a donation will pick someone at random
Yeah.
and you can decide what colour it's going to be for the final few weeks. But I did stipulate that it had to be one colour because I didn't want to be walking about East Belfast with like green, white, and gold hair.
Yeah, fair.
Well, and luckily I put that stipulation in because Brona Naked was the winner.
Oh,
she even said, she goes, it would have been, she was like, I'll go for purple. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, because you
And
love
what-
the monarchy.
And what was that made of?
What was it made of now? I can't even remember.
Fair.
It's so long ago.
Yeah.
Macmillan Cancer
Macmillan
Support.
Cancer, yeah.
I do so much charity work. It's hard to keep on
What a
top
guy,
of it.
what a guy.
Here, you
But no,
people
it
that do charity work.
it's funny.
People that do charity work, you know.
Me and Jimmy Savile.
Watch out for them, yeah. No,
I,
it's fun. Like, see watching it get shaved off. Because I didn't know it was happening either. And then Dave Elliott and Heather just walked up the stage.
Because it was like, so the last time it shaved it, funny, the first person I can remember having a conversation about it, the concept of a skullet with, was Dave, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right, okay.
And that's how it came about, was my missus was like, I bet you if you had any hair now, it would be grey. And I was like, I bet you wouldn't. But my mum and dad didn't go grey until really late. So then we were going to New Zealand over Christmas, and I left it and came back and had like 3 or 4 weeks growth. And my son was like, I would pay money to see you grow that for 6 months. And I was like,
Yeah.
so
something
that's
to do.
when I decided to do the sponsored skullet. But yeah, man, I tell you what, like, it's so good to be rid of it. Like,
Yeah.
there was days on work where I was sweating my bollocks off, but I didn't want to take my hat off. Like, just the looks you
Yeah,
got from
of
it.
course,
Like,
of
I
course.
became a literal head turner for the first time in my life. People would walk by and they'd just go like,
Yeah. Do we have a list of things millennials hate?
It's just there's some generic things like Disneyland is like one of them. I don't like getting upset. Do you know, like they wear like the ears and then they get T-shirts made.
Yeah.
I'm with Goofy. Those ones.
Or like trip to whatever.
I can't
posting
stand Disney
boomerangs,
adults,
posting
like-
boomerangs on Instagram.
Yeah, no,
Boomerangs.
100%.
Yeah.
Like,
Wouldn't touch a
I
boomerang.
feel so
Not bad,
bad for
anyway.
like men that are in relationships that are just trying to eat
Yes.
their dinner. Like,
Yeah.
we need to do a boomerang.
Yeah, phone eats first. Yeah.
Don't touch your food until I.
Yeah.
nobody really does boomerangs anymore, do they?
Boomerang. They have
They were all
kinda
the
died off.
rage with the cheers.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly what this.
that
post
is
is.
literally lock of
Yeah.
pints. Cheers.
I
Yeah.
just want to have my drink.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to.
Yeah.
And it's
drink.
like the splitting the G with a pint of Guinness. It's like, just drink it, you family.
I know. But you know what? It is very satisfying when you do it.
Yeah.
But
So is a soapy finger up here. But I don't film that
Yeah.
all the time.
video me getting a soapy finger here.
You don't post it. You don't post it.
Yeah. If that's edited out, by the way, I didn't say anything controversial.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Why is it called the Dolecast?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I'll tell you. So
You probably get asked that by every guest as well. Like,
Sorry, as you're answering this, I appear to be very rude, but I'm wanting to find out from my missus what the other thing that offends millennials was.
Don't worry.
he has the list there.
The
I'm texting your wife.
she sent her the list. She sent it you.
We need more seeds.
Yeah. Sorry, 2 seconds in. I'm doing a line of seeds here. Yeah. No. So I used to do this show on YouTube. When I was probably 15.
2019.
2019.
Wow.
Called Cooking on the Dole. So it was literally just like a cooking show, and the idea was like it's the term dole is something that people from Northern Ireland recognise, and they've heard it before. So we did Cook on the Dole, and then like there was obviously a real boom in like podcasts, and like back when we first started, it was really easy because it was just a case of hitting record on a laptop, talking into a laptop for an hour, and being like, "There's the episode done."
Yeah.
Whereas now it's the worst thing ever, and it's a real pain in the life to like get it all set up, and I'm hundreds of pounds in
Especially
debt.
days like today when we're double banking because we're
We're in Paris next week, so we're I'm trying to get a French gig, and I can't find no one's giving me a French gig.
Here.
That's funny because I'm going to Paris in April, I think.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I should probably start putting the feelers out. And then I was like, I saw your post, and I was like, I'll just wait for you to get back to me. You can tell me.
Because so there was a load of open mics happening, and the one date we're there, they're not doing an open mic, they're doing like a showcase,
Right.
and you can still apply for it. I sent the video off, and they're like, it's a proper paid gig, and I was like, there's no way I get, and they were like, you need a 10-minute video, and the only video I had handy at the time was one of me at Bad Otter. I didn't have a great set. It wasn't a full bomb, but like it was just and I sent it off, and didn't hear anything. I was like, you know what, me on message or Instagram page, just like really ham in, like, oh, I'm here on holiday, like I'm just trying to get a set. Come on,
Do you know? Show
And,
up.
Yeah,
Have you
That's
gigged?
it.
Go to
show
the
up,
gig.
show up, and just
Have
say,
you gigged
listen.
abroad before?
New Zealand.
Wow.
Um,
What was that like?
it was funny. Like, I mean, it was a wee comedy club in Dunedin. I tried to get a few when we were last out, but I think the only comedy club, they offered me a gig in a place in Dunedin, but it was one of the few nights we weren't actually going to be in Dunedin.
Yeah.
But I did a gig there in 2018 or 2019. And yeah, it was very enjoyable. But I did the joke, you know, about my son watching the rugby. But the whole punchline is like, you know, my son's meant to be 3 years old and like
yeah.
puts on this big aggressive Bagby like sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Scottish
yeah.
accent that I put on. And you do it over here and people love it.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody in New Zealand realised it changed from a Northern Irish to a Scottish accent. So like everyone it was just like silent and just all these confused faces looking at me.
Yeah.
And that was at the time like quite a new joke that it was so, and it still does really well when I do it. But it was one of those ones where you're sort of so used to it getting a big laugh that just to have complete silence and confusion really threw me. And I sort of tried to continue with it, and I was like, there's no point in me doing the rest of this joke,
Doesn't
and just
matter. Yeah,
completely
yeah.
changed.
100%.
And then I remember after the show, this guy came up and was like, how's it going, mate? Yeah, my dad's Scottish. Oh, no, what 𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀𝐾𝐿 the fuck means.
There's bound to be there's bound to be like a French Moddens or
Oh,
like
well,
that's
like-
you know what I mean?
Paris?
There's
You're-
loads,
yeah.
and like there's a website you can visit, and I visited the website, and it was, you know, it's like, oh, visit the Instagram, then you go to the Instagram doesn't exist,
Aye.
and go to like, oh, go to this website doesn't exist. So it could be a case of finding an open mic.
We're in Belgium, we're in Brussels for the first day, but
Brussels is lovely. Belgium. Do you know, if you can get to Antwerp,
Antwerp.
be a wee train journey, but like they would sort you out.
'cause our friend who we're going over to see lives in Lille. He's teaching like English to French students.
Yeah.
It's like his year abroad. So then we're going to go see him. His family in Brussels. We're flying into there, flying Dublin to there, spend the day in Brussels, then Paris the next day. So you have opportunities, I suppose. To,
Listen, put the feelers out. It might just genuinely be a case of just turn up at a club and be like,
Well, that's the thing. I
This
mean,
is
if
I'm here
if
for
nobody-
one night only and I want a gig. You know?
But somebody locally is bound to have done a gig in Paris. Like,
That's why, because I was like, this is stupid putting this into, for context, there's a big Canadians Facebook group, and I was just like, this is stupid putting this in, but also like,
the
who
size
knows?
of that city, like, you know.
Someone's got to know.
But then
a gig on
that's the
Monday
thing.
night.
I mean, I think, like, as a comedy scene and, like, a small place like Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
we do pretty well and have, like, a lot of great gigs.
Oh yeah,
You go to Paris or London or New York and there's a massive variation on what you could get, like.
yeah.
And then I think London and New York in particular seem to have a lot of bringer shows for open mics. So they'll only let you perform if you
you
bring
bring
5
them,
mates to sit in the audience.
That's a dose. Like
That's
And
it's
isn't it,
crazy.
Like,
It
I
is
mean,
crazy.
how that's
I
going
don't know,
to
5 minutes.
sort of create a scene is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%.
I'm sure some people have done them and they've been great.
Yeah.
But,
What are, I mean, you've been doing it since 2017. When did you start?
2017.
2017 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably, you've probably been asked this loads. What is the worst gig you've ever done? Like, what is the time you've walked off stage and gone, I've never experienced anything like that in my entire
Last
life?
year, I know I'm straight in with this.
Yeah.
Like, Comedy Hub and I were running a competition.
Yeah,
like Comedian of the Year.
yeah.
And my heat, they done like 4 or 5 heats. Can't remember. It's not important now. I didn't get through. But my heat was in Pug Uglies.
Yeah.
And whatever way whoever in Pug Uglies had like set up the room. So they'd sold, I think they'd sold like that. It sold really terribly. There was
Right,
like 10 people in.
Right, okay.
But the way that the people were in were like sat, they'd spaced out like the whole room. So like there was a couple down at the very end of the room. There was a couple in the middle. There's a couple up here.
Yeah.
And then 2 other people standing at the bar.
if you've sold 10 tickets, put 10 seats at the front
Yeah.
and put reserved on all the other tables so they have to sit there. Like,
All the lights, I feel like they got extra lights that night
Yeah.
as well. The room was like so bright. And like, yeah, I got in and like was watching the 3 people before me, and everyone was just dying on their arse, and I was like, do you know what? I was like, I might just pack this in. I might just not do this. Like, and I was like, do you know what? I've came here, like, I'm gonna do it, and got up, and everything just tumbleweeds, like, to the point where, like, I was, and like all the lights were burning on me. I was like profusely sweating, like, and it was just like 5 minutes set. I think I'd wrapped it up in like 2.5, and was just like,
that was quick.
and like, you know, as you were saying, like with the Scottish bit, and you were doing it in New Zealand, and it just got nothing. Like bits that I knew that would be like killers, like the greatest hits, were just getting nothing, to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore, and it was horrible. But yeah, that was.
I can't really answer the question. I've never had a bad gig. No, I don't know. Like, there's times when there's bad gigs for different reasons. You could get an audience that aren't there for comedy and aren't interested. And it's sort of been sprung on them as a surprise. Or you can get a night where you're trying new stuff, and it's just and then I don't know. It's like the Empire is class, right? And I've done it I don't know how many times, but like I love doing it. Great room, always really good atmosphere. Lovely hosts that play you with as many drinks as you want when you're performing. But there was one night, I think it was about this time 2 years ago, and there was a group of people sitting at the front who I think we later established they'd been out drinking all day, and like so Andrew Ryan was MCing, and Andrew's a pro, like, you know, he smashes it all the time. So he was on doing it, and he was trying to have a bit of a chat with them, and they were sort of like, I don't know, standoffish or something. So he moved on and was talking to other people, and then next thing they're just chatting, and he went back to them and was like, sorry, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, it's a private thing. And they were like right at the front. So then he started getting frustrated. Then we got the audience up, and then he brought me on. I was on first. I came out, and I made the mistake of trying to go back to them. But it was because there was like quite a big table of them. That because they were right there, and then I panicked, and then I was trying to talk to one particular guy, and he was like, oh, and it was... the whole thing was like, why have you come to a comedy night? Like, and then you could see other people in the audience like just staring at them, like, what are you doing? So that was a bad one, just because it was like, you know, it's a big room. It was, you know, I've such brilliant memories of performing there, and you were expecting good things, and then all of a sudden it's like, this isn't what the Empire's like,
especially,
you know?
Especially in a gig like that where you're like, oh, I really want to have a good one here. Great club, great venue. And
well, it is a great club and a great venue.
But that's it. Like, you do get like bad gigs for like different reasons. Like doing like a private before Christmas. And it was for like this like staff do effectively, and they didn't know that there was going to be comedy until the night. So like me and the other 2 comedians like showed up, and it was just like, they were just like it was clearly like, you don't want us here. You would have been so much happier with just a DJ playing 𝐿𝙊𝙇𝙀𝙀 𝑉𝑎𝑛𝑑𝑒𝑟, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm standing here with a mini keyboard doing a song about Jerry Adams to the tune of Baby, like, and you're just looking at me like,
and you see,
please
the thing is,
go
right,
away.
if they booked like a Shane Todd or a Mickey Bartlett or Tim McGarry or whoever to do one of those gigs, and they show up in the function room in the corner while everyone's eating the Christmas dinner, everyone will be like, oh, there's your man, and they'll listen. But you see, when it's some like us, they'll just be like, who's this guy? Like,
why is there a wee Mexican lesbian there?
He's got his wee keyboard.
It's just like, you know, but funny, I did 2 one night after the other a few years ago, and there were Christmas dues for car dealerships, and I went in on, I think the first one was on the Friday night and the second one was on the Saturday night, but the thing was, everything was so laughably bad, and everything was like, nothing was going to work, and I remember at one stage just 'cause people are there to have their Christmas dinner.
Of course,
you know,
of course, yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
out from the company. They maybe get out once or twice a year,
That's it.
and they're wanting to have a bit of crack.
Yeah.
And you know, the company's giving them a few free drinks, and all of a sudden, some kid stand up with a microphone. So I just remember at one stage just making eye contact with this woman who was sitting having her turkey. And it was just because she was right opposite me. I remember just looking at her and going, this is one of the worst experiences of my life. She started laughing and I started laughing. And then, like, I think I did, I don't know, 15 minutes. And of course, then there's trigger words. So everyone's doing their best to ignore you. And then you say, Fenian. And there people are like, like, you know,
course.
but they don't listen to anything else. They just hear those words, and they're like, and then as well, one guy's just got his phone up, and I was like, what's he doing here? Like taking a video of this just so he can send his mates, go look at this dickhead. But then I went back the next night, and I was like, right, what did it? I got there early, and I was able to see all the staff coming in, and I could see who had obviously been on the booze all day, who was on the dance floor before everyone else, and before they sat down for their meal. And then I just walked around the room and was like, right, who is the company gossip? And they were all like, her. So I just went over and was like, what's the big... So just walked around and basically encouraged them to slabber about each other. And they loved it.
That's good.
And I did nothing. So Luke McGibbon was doing it the next week, and I was like, this is when I was away in New Zealand, and he messaged me saying, have you any advice? And I said, look, they're a brilliant Bluetooth microphone. This is what happened on the Friday night. This is what happened on the Saturday night. Just walk around the room, interview them. Don't try and do your set and stand in the corner. And then Luke arrived down and they had a wired microphone that only stretched about a meter. It was like, it was the one thing you had told me was a get out of jail card. Like, wasn't a possibility.
Nightmare.
Just shouting. But have you seen anything coming up?
I'm doing Kill Your Darlings on Sunday
Nice.
in the American, which should be fun. And then down in Bray for the Hardy Horror competition.
Oh, very good.
So the final is next Tuesday.
And are you forward for that? Or
What's up?
are you forward for that final? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
So, yeah, it's funny, like, 'cause I mean, it's a newcomers competition. So, I did my first gig in 2017, but then there was 2 years where there was no gigs happening.
Yeah.
So, I met the
I
criteria.
suppose they're kind of they're kind of right off. I suppose. What about you, Jack?
I have nothing. I have this month. I have American football gig. At,
Yes. Common Market. Yeah.
Sunday the 9th of February. I don't know anything about American football. I know the word touchdown.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Here, mention that.
And CTE.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fantastic. Come down to that.
Taylor
Common
Swift,
Market.
isn't she American
Taylor
football?
Swift.
Taylor Swift plays American
The
football
Bulls,
now.
probably.
The Bulls.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Rock at one stage was an American footballer.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar as well.
Okay.
Patty Jackson.
Yeah.
Yes.
But and then March is looking very busy. So
Good
yes,
stuff.
come out and see me and see Ian and see Dan and
See us all.
Can I say this is so I have this thing with
Yeah.
going on podcasts
Yeah.
where I go non-verbal.
Yeah.
I,
So I was warned earlier. Yeah.
But this has been fantastic for
It
me
has,
because
hasn't it?
I have spoke.
Yes.
And
Anyone hosting a podcast, I think the key is you need to have a cactus, Lego, an exercise bag, and,
Jack McGee's coming. I'll send you a photo of this room and you.
Jack
and a
McGee
child handcuffed to a radiator for some reason.
Jack McGee has broke the curse. If you'd ever watched that general banter where I just seized up.
That was good.
Because I was surrounded by very good looking men at that time. Kieran Franco, Colin and Paddy Raff. Obviously this time it's been doable for me because
All you can handle is one bald guy at a time. Is that what you're saying?
I can handle as many
I
bald
have
guys.
to say it was very refreshing to
Bonnie
be on
Blue.
a podcast that doesn't start with an advert telling you to shave your. So
I'm recording that after you guys
Shout
leave.
out to the barbecue guy.
But boys, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
very much.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah, all your stuff will be in the description. Give the boys a follow, and we'll see you later.
Whoop whoop.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Dolecast, 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 Dolecast.